Okay, NXT Heatwave just wrapped up, give or take about 20 minutes ago or so. Uh, Overall, interesting show, but I do see room for improvement again. We actually did have a kickoff show match this time around. We had JC Jane and Jasmine Nix taking on Carmen Petrovic and Ariana Grace, two people from Toronto, Canada. Again, obviously, if you've been watching NXT, JC Jane is broke her nose, and now Cody Rhodes lent her the dashing Cody Rhodes Phantom of the Opera mask. Early on, Jane hit Grace with a hair flip off the second rope. Jane and Nix did show some good teamwork very early on, using a blind tag to do like a double team neck breaker. They did a nice little boot elbow kick combination. Carmen Petrovic did tap in. She had several kicks. She had a discus lariat. Eventually, Grace got the hot tag, hit a big boot and elbow combination. She and Carmen Petrovic teamed up for kind of a heart attack-like maneuver, except instead of the clothesline, it was a spin kick. Jane and Nix came back, hit a toe hold knee strike combination. At this point, it looked like Nix had rolled up and put an O'Connell roll on Petrovic and was near the ropes, but Grace managed to sneak up and pull Petrovic just enough to regain the leverage in the roll, and thus Grace and Petrovic get the pin and the victory in their hometown. Which means it does occasionally actually happen in WWE, so I guess that's a landmark point. Funny thing is, afterwards though, it seemed like Grace did not want to continue the tag team, even though they actually seemed to work pretty well together. And how they're facing each other on Tuesday. Overall, decent little match. I thought the ending was a little hurried up, but again, I guess get what they're trying to do. Okay. Moving on to the show proper, we opened up with the Men's North American Championship match, Oba Femi versus Wes Lee. This is Lee's last chance to challenge Femi for the championship. Early on, Lee tried to land some kicks, but Femi just grabbed him and threw him down. Lee did come back, tried to go for like a disaster kick type maneuver off the ropes, but he slipped and had to readjust himself and actually go off the lower rope rather than the second rope. Femi came back and hit a big fireman's carry facebuster like maneuver where he picked up Lee and he just shucked him and went around. Lee went around a couple of times and landed hard. Femi began targeting Lee's surgically repaired back. They fought outside the ring. Femi stomped on him a few times. Lee eventually did dodge a spear and landed a series of kicks, sending Lee into the ring post. Lee hit the cardiac kick and the flying fist. At this point, Lee countered a pop-up powerbomb into a victory roll. Lee went for the Meteora, but Femi blocked it. Femi hit a big European uppercut to counter that maneuver. Lee hit another cardiac kick. Didn't quite get all of it, though, only got a 2 count. They fought to the outside of the ring. Femi countered another moonsault into a shoulder breaker on the outside. Again, Lee fought back one more time, went for another cardiac kick, but actually he went for 2 more. The first one kind of fell apart, because the idea is Femi was supposed to counter the cardiac kick into his pop-up powerbomb finisher. And that's what happened. He powerbombed Lee for the 3 count of the victory. Overall, really good match. Lee says what his next plan is going to be on Tuesday. I'm guessing he's probably going to start going after the World Championship, the NXT Championship, but we'll see what happens when we get to there. But overall, decent match again. Finish got a little rushed and hurried up. Again, the botch that leads up to the finish, which unfortunately will now become a recurring thread throughout the show. After that, we had the Women's North American Championship match, Kalani Jordan versus Sol Ruca, the battle of the gymnasts, if you will. Early on, they keep trying to put each other in head scissors maneuvers that the other would counter and roll out of. Jordan eventually came up short on a crossbody and seemed to injure either her ribs or her abdomen at some point, because she would hit a maneuver and then hold her stomach afterwards for a long time. Ruca came back and put Jordan in a surfboard hold. Jordan came back at a corkscrew planche to the outside. Sol Ruca hit a 450-degree lariat Jordan then hit, let's see, what did I write? Yeah, again, she had another plancha-like maneuver, a cross body, and again was holding her stomach afterwards, and did that throughout the rest of the match. Ruka then countered a head scissors into a punt kick and moonsault combination. Ruka then hit a fireman's bomb, but then Jordan countered the Soul Smasher into a roll-up. She got out of it again. They went up onto the top ropes. Jordan hit a Poison Rana off the second rope and then followed that up with her split-legged moonsault for the 3 count of victory. Overall, very entertaining match. Not so much the flaws in this one. I don't know if Jordan's 100% after this. Again, she was holding her stomach throughout the whole thing, so I think she may have really done something. I'm not entirely sure. There was sportsmanship at the end, but I do have to wonder if maybe they're planning for the Sol Ruka heel turn here. But I'm not entirely sure. There's also plenty of other heel women on the show who might also need to challenge for that championship on occasion. But yeah, like I said, overall very entertaining match. Yeah, there are a few mistakes here and there, but they seem to make up for them more often than not. And it didn't result in a very clunky finish. Okay, our next match is the NXT Tag Team Championship match. Nathan Frazer and Axiom versus Chase U. In this case, that's Duke Hudson and Chase. I forgot his first name. We'll just put it up right here, right now. Okay, anyway, right off the bat, they tried to... the story going into this was something held Frazer up. He was not involved. He wasn't there for the pre-show. And he got way delayed. He got held up at the airport because he was too busy signing autographs and taking pictures, which seemed to upset Axiom, so they didn't have a game plan going into this. Axiom did put Chase in a bow and arrow hold off the bat. Chase came back, hit a big arm drag and a drop kick on Axiom, and then hit a big arm drag on Frazer. Hudson came in and hit Frazer with a... I said Frazer! Like, God, they have me doing it too. Anyway... Hudson hit Frazer with a belly-to-belly to the outside of the ring. Let's see, what did I write? The Champs hit Chase with a double super kick after that. Chase countered an axe handle into a side effect. Axiom held on to an ankle lock on Chase to basically counter an enziguri. Hudson came back and hit double bionic elbows on the Champs. Hudson then hit a slingshot German suplex on Frazer. Frazer came back and hit a missile drop kick on Chase. They hit the Spanish Fly and Phoenix Splash, but I believe on Chase, but Hudson broke the pin. Or no, they hit it on Hudson. Chase broke the pin with a Canadian Destroyer. That's what I meant to say there. And this all basically ended in a big schmoz breaking out, and Axiom eventually hitting the Golden Ratio on Chase for the 3 count of the victory. This match was okay. I know Chase U is better than this, and obviously they're planting the seeds for the eventual Frazer-Axiom breakup, but if that was the case, why not just have them lose the championships here? I think, they're not, if you're doing this storyline, you're obviously planting the seeds for the breakup, so to have them lose the championships furthers that story than it does having them just barely squeak by. Also, but then again, you're also doing a storyline that's obviously trying to break up Chase U for the 13th or 14th time, with Ridge Holland not being included, and now getting the other guy whose name escapes me at the moment, unfortunately, the guy who walks around waving the flag to break away, because obviously they're not respecting him. And added to that, you obviously I think was Jasmine Nix part of the group, or was it Thea Hall was with someone, and then JC Jane came and broke that part up. So yeah, again, it's not like Chase U is that much of a factor anymore. So I guess maybe I can understand that decision a little bit more, but yeah, again, I'm still not entirely sure on that. Okay, our next match is the NXT Women's Championship match, Roxanne Perez versus Lola Vice. Right off the bat, Perez slapped Vice, and Vice fought back really hard. Perez rolled out of the ring to avoid a spinning back fist. Perez hit a Russian leg sweep and tried to lock on an armbar. Vice countered with some kicks. They fought to the outside of the ring. She put on an uppercut. She countered an uppercut with a rear naked choke. She went for a spinning back fist, but Perez ducked and Vice hit the post really hard. So she's selling an injury there. Vice did counter a code red into the back fist, but it hurt too much to try to get the pin. Also, Perez fell out of the ring. Perez did hit the pop rocks on the announce table a couple of times. She did it in the ring once. Vice still kicked out of both of them. Vice started to fight back once more, went for a back fist. Perez countered that into the pop rocks. She then hit it 2.5 more times. The second time they didn't quite get the full rotation, so yeah, we had another botch leading to a clunky finish. So they set it up and did it one more time for the 3 count of the victory, so Perez retained. Yeah, again, match kind of done. This match, they were trying to they told a better story in this, I think, rather than have a bunch of high spots. But again, the botched finish kind of just clunked it all up. They're trying to build Vice, I guess, as the one to take down Perez. I don't know what they're going to do when Cora Jade gets back. But yeah, like that's the one I keep wondering when that's going to happen. But yeah, overall, like I said, not a bad match, but again, done in by a clunky finish. And like I said, I don't know if they're going to continue to build Vice as the next big contender, or are they going to have Vice sell this injury and, you know, maybe do it a little bit later down the line. Like, I know they're doing Great American Bash next month, but that's on Sci-Fi on Tuesday, so, you know, maybe they're holding that off until then. I am not entirely sure. And of course, we got our little vignettes in between. It's funny that we had a Josh Briggs vignette and then we had a Brooks Jensen vignette, and how, hopefully you didn't hear that, but the phone went off again. Anyway, like they said, they had a Josh Briggs vignette, and then they did a Brooks Jensen vignette, and they talked about it. And it's funny because those two are a tag team, and yet now Jensen is doing this drinking storyline, which maybe isn't the best idea. I guess they're trying to do the Hangman Adam Page storyline from AEW a few years ago. Anyway, let's move on to our main event, the Fatal 4-Way for the NXT Championship. Trick Williams versus All Ego Ethan Page versus Shawn Spears versus Javon Evans. Ethan Page, who is of course Canadian, comes out in red, white, and blue in a USA jacket, proclaiming that he's now a citizen of the United States. Trick Williams came out in nice Harlem Heat tribute tights. Right off the bat, Page tried to roll out of the ring to avoid the fight and let everyone take each other out, but Javon Evans immediately hit a torpe through the ropes to bring Page back in. Spears tried to attack with a chair. Williams kicked it away. Williams and Evans worked together briefly to get Page and Spears out of the ring a couple of times. Page and Williams inadvertently worked together to hit a devastation device DDT on Evans and Spears. Evans was up on Williams' shoulders. Spears was in the DDT position. Spears did come back in and attack with his chair. He hit the C4 into a chair. Did he hit Evans or did he hit Page? I cannot remember. He hit one of the guys with the C4 into the chair, but Williams broke up the pin. Williams hit Page with a standing blockbuster. Evans hit a plancha to the outside over the ring post onto Williams. He was trying to get Page, but Page pulled Williams into the path of it. They fell into the timekeeper's area. Spears hit the C4 on Page and attempted to cover. Evans hit his big cutter on Page. Williams broke the pin up there. Evans and Williams took each other down with kicks. Evans came back. He hit his cutter and splash on Spears. Again, Williams broke up the pin. Evans tried to go for a springboard maneuver off the ropes. Williams, having no other choice to interrupt it, shoved Evans off of the ropes and all the way to the announce table, where he landed hard. His back head was like completely whipped and everything. Like, he caught the just edge of that table, smack dab in his lower back. It might be one of those, if he were much older, he would be in a lot more pain. Spears put Williams in a sharpshooter. Page came in, attacked, hit the Ego's edge, but Evans recovered and managed to break the pin. They got into more of a fight. Page went for the Ego's Edge on Evans, but Spears broke that up. Williams hit a trick shot into Evans, which knocked Spears off the apron. He then turned around and he caught Page with a trick shot. That knocked Page onto Evans for the pinning predicament. Before Williams could do anything, Spears grabbed Williams' leg and held him and pulled him out of the ring, which means Ethan Page actually covers Jaylon Evans for the 3 count in the victory. So Ethan Page is now NXT champion. Yeah, it's a very unique finish in this. This one did not come across as clunky. It worked. It seemed to really confuse a lot of people, but especially Ethan Page, who seemed kind of surprised to suddenly realized he had won the championship. But yeah, like I said, overall this was a really good match, really fun. Trick Williams is a guy who works really great with the crowd, but his matches as champion were really flat. I mean, the last one he had against Page did not live up to snuff. But this one, I think, worked a lot better. So, yeah, I think he's maybe one of those guys where it's more interesting when he chases the championship. I guess we'll see. Maybe he'll wind up becoming a 2-time champion. Who knows? But hopefully, if not, we can get him up to the main roster. I think he needs to work with Carmelo Hayes again. That was the only guy he ever really seemed to have a lot of decent chemistry with. But yeah, like I said, he's not a bad guy. Like I said, he does connect with the crowd, but again, his opponents, you know, the matches he had since winning that championship just weren't entertaining. I don't know. I mean, he's obviously got a feud with Spears as well too, because Spears is really the one who cost him the championship. It had nothing to do with Page. We've got to wonder if Wesley is going to be involved in this. I mean, obviously he can't go after the North American Championship anymore. Oh, and I forgot to mention, right after we went off the air, we had a brief glimpse of Joe Hendry. That's all I can say. Like, we did the opening to the Say His Name, and it showed up, and then it just, yeah, that was it. I have no idea if that was meant to be intentional or not. It could have just been a production error for all I know. But yeah, like I said, I do think putting the belt on Ethan Page is probably better right now. A heel champion is going to help keep this brand a little more lively for the next few months. Again, I think we do need to start, maybe look to build that next babyface. Maybe we need to look to a Wesley who also can connect with the crowd, is also really athletic, you know, and I think is maybe capable of, as evidenced by the Obafemi match earlier, so maybe that could work a little bit. I know there's been rumblings that maybe he'll get involved with another TNA crossover and we'll get a Rascals reunion. Don't really know about that just because of Zach Wentz's position in the company and how that went down. If things have... Yeah, you can look that up. I don't know if that means WWE wouldn't be willing to work with him again, but still... you know, I do think this does open up a lot more interesting ideas. Like I said, Trick is a good wrestler. I think he does, like I said, he does connect with the crowd, but there just really wasn't any momentum build behind him after he won. Like, after he beat Dragunov, you know, obviously he beat Carmelo Hayes when they did that, the breakup of that team, but, yeah, and then he beat Dragunov, but then it just seemed like nothing else was clicking after that. So, yeah, again, I do think this is a much-needed title change. Okay, so, yeah, my thoughts on the show overall. I do think this is an improvement from the last NXT PLE. But, yeah, again, there were still some problems. Again, clunky finishes in a few of the matches. Again, when you have to reset the finisher in at least 2 matches, maybe a third, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, that tag match I think was a little clunky finish too. Yeah, again, it doesn't really sit well too much with me. But like I said, I do think this was an improvement. I am willing to go with a B on NXT Heatwave. Like I said, this was a better show. The matches were way more entertaining. I had a lot more invested in them. But yeah, definitely still some room for improvement on these things. Okay, so again, I don't know exactly what the next video is going to be. It's going to be Madden related, where in all likelihood that's what it's going to be. And then there might be another wrestling thing coming up, but we'll deal with that one if it comes up. Again, first and foremost, we're going to be doing the Madden one. Like I said, I mean, obviously nothing's changed in the last 24 hours. I'm hoping I can get this squared away, but I'm not sure yet. Yeah. So, like I said, and then in a couple weeks or so, we'll have the random trade review on Hockey Apocalypse Volume 2. Like I said, wrestling-wise, we're not really doing anything until SummerSlam. I think there's going to be a TNA show in August. I know they haven't done Slammiversary yet. I think that's this month, and then next month is something else. Is it Against All Odds? So maybe I'll cover that next month. Or, again, hopefully, maybe, possibly an AEW show. Don't set that one in stone necessarily. See you all next time.
Hey guys, remember you can help me maintain and possibly even expand my professional wrestling covers by supporting me on Patreon at patreon.com/SleepyTimeForCat Productions. Also, remember to like the video, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.